We're visiting, actually, that's where our Peace Boat ship is today in Cape Town. And then we'll be traveling through the Southern Hemisphere, often visiting Patagonia and the Pacific, and going back to Japan, which is our headquarters. So we are actually based in Tokyo, and we have a second office here in the United Nations Plaza. Peace Boat also does lots of activities which are hands-on and interactive in the ports of call. So really working for ocean and climate action through mangrove reforestation, beach cleanups, and all kinds of cultural exchanges. So we're excited to have many participants with us here online today. We can think about what are the skills that you have in your home communities? What are the things that you would like to hone in on? And what passions do you have that you would like to share with others? For example, if we visit your community sometime soon. This led us to start our Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador Program, really bringing the voice of youth from small island developing states or large ocean states to come on board with us and share their testimonies, really as they are on the front lines of climate change and ocean degradation. We found that storytelling and sharing experiences is a great skill, especially for youth who are facing similar challenges and also looking to find solutions. So with this program, we've been focusing on SDG 14 for life below water, learning about coral reef restoration and ecosystems, especially. Those are study programs that we're working on in collaboration with our local partners. So even trying out coral restoration on our own and learning those skills underwater. We have become a member of the Friends of UN World Oceans Day. So this is one of my first tips that I'll be sharing today. For those of you who want to become ocean champions, we really recommend also getting involved in local networks. The Friends of UN World Oceans Day is open to anyone, so you can all join. And at the end of this presentation, we will be sharing a resources link, which will have all of the different activities and networks that you can be a part of. Friends of World Oceans Day celebrates every year on June 8th life below water and ocean conservation. So we're working together with United Nations partners and various stakeholders to promote this day around the world. And as you know, now we have entered the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. So we thought, as a challenge for us on Peace Boat as well, to take our Youth for SDGs program, to build those capacities and focus on ocean science. So we've been doing lots of different programs in the ports, and that's why we have our 3 youth leaders to share with you today a bit more about this experience. And we've been doing some ocean research and citizen science as our first project. This is in collaboration with another nonprofit called Earth Echo International, who also has a great platform online called Gen C that you can also join. It's free and open to the public to be part of this program. And they created these water test kits, which are very easy to use. By taking simple samples of the water, you can test the pH level, the turbidity, which is how cloudy the water is and how clear it is, dissolved oxygen, so the oxygen level, and also the temperature of the water. And these are simple tests that you can take even in your home community to see the health of the ocean and where you live. Then this data is collected and shared with the United Nations, IOC UNESCO, through their ODIS platform, Ocean Data Information System. And this was also a new skill that I picked up even as a coordinator, learning how to share data in open resource ways that can allow data to be discoverable by other scientists and other researchers who might want to know what are the changes in temperature in different coastal communities or the different changes in oxygen level or pH. So our youth program is helping to discover these data points. And you can also participate in your home community by doing water testing on any water body, whether it be a river, a lake, or the ocean nearby. And at the end of the UN Ocean Decade, for us, our biggest goal is to travel on a more sustainable ship. So we've been bringing together lots of different ideas. And for those of you who are interested in architecture or design or renewable energy, this could be also a way to use your skills in the future. We've been focusing on raising awareness for decarbonization of the maritime industry. We also recognize that our ship has an impact on the ocean. So encouraging our young leaders to learn about the maritime industry itself, what are the impacts that ships have while traveling, and how to reduce those impacts through using solar power, using wind, because we're on the ocean every day. There's a lot of sun and wind as we're sailing from country to country. And then, of course, we want to make our environmental practices on board more sustainable. So we've been doing all kinds of brainstorming with the youth and experts in the field to come up with this eco ship for the future design. And then after our voyages, we continue our capacity building and training with youth by inviting them to join us at major international forums such as COP, the Conference of Parties, the UN Climate Change Conference that takes place every year. This is an important gathering where global leaders are coming together and making decisions on behalf of humanity for climate action. And we've been inviting our youth leaders to practice their public speaking skills and to also present with us on stage. And sorry, if anyone has their mic open, if you can also mute, that would be great. Thank you so much. Through these programs, we've been able to have our youth leaders take the stage, not only in side events, but also in press conferences, which we see featured here. So using these different platforms, announcing important collaborations or giving updates is a great way to present at the COP conferences and bring partners together. Even here in this one photo, we have stakeholders from various organizations, government partners, and global networks that are focusing on ocean conservation. And our youth are able to also find their own passions. So that's another tip that we have today is really find your passion, what drives you to make change. We have our youth here, Khadijah Stewart, who started a podcast series called Eco Vibes, and she's been leading podcasts by being with us at COP and doing interviews, recording people's stories and sharing those online. And we created a film festival. So today we're going to be sharing 2 short videos where we'll be introducing storytelling for the ocean and really creating these materials that can be shared at any international fora. So creating your own space, finding your voice and sharing these in the stories would be another way to be part of the UN climate change conferences. So next, I'm going to go ahead and pass over to my 3 useful tips of this short session. Number 1 is to join ocean networks like the Friends of UN World Oceans Day. Number 2 is to learn about events in your city and participate. Showing up is important. Most of the programs that I've been a part of and that I've volunteered at have led me to the next step in my life as well. And I think that showing up is really half of the initiative, meeting people where they're at. And find the SDGs that resonate most with you. Out of all the 17 SDGs, today we're talking about becoming ocean champions, and all of the other SDGs are also related to the ocean. So really find something that makes you passionate about taking action. What is it that really interests you the most that you think needs to be the challenge to work on for your generation? And make that your goal to learn about that SDG. So with that, I would like to go on next to our short video. We are focusing on this year's theme of the United Nations World Oceans Day. So it's another tip. The UN World Oceans Day changes the theme every year. Last year was Planet Ocean, Tides Are Changing. And the theme of this year is Awaken New Depths. So we're going to take a deep dive into a short video. And hopefully everyone can hear the sound okay. Please do let me know. And this is a short film by Ryan Carl on our Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador Program.
Emily, we don't hear the video.
You can't hear it, so okay, let me see.
We don't hear it.
Usually, if you're sharing your screen and moving the cursor up, there comes the sharing menu, and there is an option for sharing sound.
My name is Genevieve Chipa, and I'm from Fiji.
Does that
Yeah,
come okay?
we hear it now. Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Peaceboat has introduced the Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador Program, which is a program that brings together youth from small island developing states to come together on a 3-week journey, share their stories about climate change and ocean degradation.
Peaceboat travels all over the world to try to achieve the global goals. The Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador Program specifically focuses on goals 13 and 14, which are climate action and life below water.
We are here for the same thing with a common goal, to raise our voices, to share our knowledge, and to speak up for what we think is right.
All of the ambassadors are from small island states which are affected by climate change. We physically see it in our islands. Peaceboat is bringing us together to try and find solutions and to get our stories told so that in the future we can have change.
On this voyage, we are visiting ports in Stockholm, Denmark, Bergen, Reykjavik, Halifax, and New York. We started using the Talno dialogue in Stockholm when we began the program. Talno is a concept in Fiji in the Pacific, which means an inclusive and participatory dialogue. It's meant to be a very positive framing of an issue and meant to focus on solutions and how we can progress to make a better world. It is incredibly important to have more voices heard because different people could have different solutions and solutions that we might not know about.
Climate change is a worldwide discussion. It is something that everyone has to be part of. So obviously it is people and young people just as the ambassadors, but it's also NGOs, it's also businesses, it's also governmental organizations.
With the Paris Agreement that was adopted in 2015 and the SDGs, we have an international framework, universal agreements that all governments around the world have decided to move forward to work towards a sustainable development that also protect the planet, but also has a focus on the well-being of people. But at the end of the day, it is a social transformation. This training program is about empowering people to not only be aware about the problem, but to live the solution.
Having Adriana here from the UNFCCC was a really good partnership. It was a bridge between the information that comes from the UN and us, the ambassadors, people who are trying to create change.
Meeting different kinds of activists that are actually doing what they believe is right. It felt really inspiring because now I know how it looks like to actually do these things.
This is a really good chance to give voices to a younger generation where we believe the future is ours and we share the same goal and we share the same problems and we share the same passion for our survival.
Hello, my name is Frances from Seychelles, and all the youth ambassadors have gathered here at the United Nations to talk about the program on Peace Board and what we have learned, and we're happy to contribute to the high-level political forum. Since we live on the island, we see the impact. I think the youth should be given more opportunities. Most of the time when there's conference, it's usually the ministers, the president that goes, but we don't have that platform to speak out. And I think that is very important.
It's been a very inspiring journey for us. We didn't know each other and now we've been like families to each other. If that can happen, I hope that it transcends throughout our journey when we go back home and for the rest of our lives.
Something new for me, really, really new. I have to take some actions. I'm pleasant. I will do something in my country.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you were able to see a little bit more about Peace Boat's activities for capacity building for young leaders and how storytelling through film can also create emotion and understanding of some of the issues that we're facing today. So, with that, I would like to pass it over to our youth team with Molly Roseanne, who is the Peace Boat US Youth Coordinator.
there. Sorry, I momentarily froze. So, hello everyone. My name is Molly Roseanne, and I'm so excited to be talking to you all today. I'm based in New York City, and I work for Peaceboat US as a youth coordinator and for Blue Planet Alliance as their Global Ambassador Program Coordinator. I'm passionate about being an advocate on climate and ocean related issues, as well as through work I do in nuclear disarmament spaces. Being a young person in a variety of advocacy spaces is an incredible opportunity to be involved in the issues that I care about, and I'm so lucky to have found a career in it. So with the guide of the Peaceboat Voyage I joined last summer in Latin America, I'll be explaining some of the skills I learned from the activities we did on board and in the ports. So as you can see here, first I wanted to begin with a youth meeting we had with the United Nations Environment Program, or UNEP, while we were in Panama. This brought together youth from many different backgrounds to hear from one another about initiatives happening in their regions, explaining to people that aren't familiar with certain issues that you work on or that are region specific can take a lot of skill. And one skill that was common among the entire Youth4SDGs program was explaining and putting into words the issues of the world. For better or for worse, a lot of our conversations were widespread across our respective backgrounds. And so with this also comes opportunities to brainstorm and problem solve with the other youth facing the same issues, asking each other what works, challenges that they face, even down to how you communicate with other youth in the community can all be topics of discussion for this. And youth empowerment is something that often gets overlooked as a truly impactful form of capacity building. So on this day, after hearing from various initiatives from Panama and having conversations about similarities and differences, we all collectively agreed that raising awareness, spreading eco-conscious behavior, educating others, building networks, sharing resources, and supporting each other are only a few ways youth can influence change. While also in Panama, we participated in a full-day youth conference with the National Secretariat of Energy and the SDG 7 Academy, which is a leadership program in sustainable energy and development for young professionals between the ages of 20 and 30. The goal for this event was to build generational change to promote the sustainable energy transition while training in technical and soft skills to be leaders in the field. Here I was talking about the goals and projects of Blue Planet Alliance, which works on getting islands and countries around the world to legislatively mandate a commitment to 100% renewable energy by 2045. And in my role as the youth program coordinator for the Global Ambassador Program, I was discussing the importance of having a network of young people working towards the same goal to be connected with. In addition to this youth perspective, there were also speakers from the private sector and other community organizations. With any issue, it's multifaceted and has a lot of perspectives to it. So if you're a person wanting to get into a certain field, there's many ways to get involved. This youth convening provided innovative and comprehensive tools for advocacy in addition to building agendas and connections with different stakeholders. It is so important to develop leadership skills in technical areas such as this, where the specific regional conversation, territorial, and sectoral participatory processes and allow the youth to have greater opportunities for representation and participation in decisions being made for their future. Lastly, I wanted to touch here on the topic that I discussed in a workshop that I gave while on the Peace Boat. As I mentioned in the beginning, I also work in nuclear disarmament issues. I prepared this workshop knowing my audience, my fellow Youth4SDG scholars, and almost everyone had some sort of connection to ocean and climate issues that there were young experts in. So because of this, I tied nuclear disarmament to ocean and climate issues that are still pressing even today. So my workshop discussed the environmental effects of nuclear weapons use and testing that took place after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. So in addition to providing information about relevant policies and treaties about nuclear disarmament, the main connection I wanted to make was how interconnected many issues of the world are. Nowadays, it's not uncommon to hear the term desiloing our way of thinking about issues because truly everything is connected in one way or another. So once you start thinking about these issues in this way, you start expanding your understanding of the problem. So from this workshop, each participant was able to connect their personal passion to how it relates to nuclear disarmament conversations. And so when people understand this connection, they're more willing to mobilize and support around it. And so lastly, I wanted to give some tips. As you can see, I feel like I talk about youth engagement a lot, and I'm very passionate about getting young people mobilized for an issue that they care about. I have 3 helpful tips here that I personally wanted to share about my journey and how I got to where I am today. I think many of us can relate that it can be hard to have a sustainable career advocating issues you're passionate about. I know I've also really struggled trying to find opportunities, especially as a young person. My first tip would be, if you are just getting started in your career, to continue learning and seeking new opportunities in the field you want to be in. More often than not, you will meet like-minded people and grow your network. There might even be opportunities you could hear about, or just different ways to continue growing. This kind of goes into the second tip, because when you meet new people at different events and experiences, it gives you the opportunity to ask about themselves and their background. When I do this, I always find it fascinating to hear about a person's background and their work history, for lack of better words. And it not only taught me that my career goals could be achieved, but it's not a linear process. Success rarely comes without setbacks and challenges along the way. And so take everything as a learning opportunity and stay persistent pursuing your goals. I find myself needing to remind myself of this, so I hope that this is helpful for you to hear as well. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'm looking forward to our Q&A at the end. Next, I'll pass it to Neon Murray to introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Neon Murray, and I'm thrilled to be here sharing my peace boat journey with you. So I'm hailing from Trinidad and Tobago. My passion lies in renewable energy, project management, and ocean innovation. I'm based in Canada, and I'm dedicated to the global sustainability and hold a few roles, one being the founder of Nisus Energy, second, a youth for the SDGs scholar from the Latin American voyage, and a global ambassador for Blue Planet Alliance. So today we'll go through 3 visits while on the Latin American voyage. First, we visited the turtle conservation in Guatemala. Some skills that we learned, wow, it was amazing. So through meticulous data collection and analysis, we uncovered insights vital for effective conservation strategies, engaging local communities to foster shared responsibility and unite efforts for sustainable futures. So their education and outreach initiatives empowered us with the knowledge and passion needed to champion that turtle conservation, while learning that constant research and monitoring in the field provides essential data guiding our actions to protect turtle populations. So my experience with turtles was very limited before this interaction, and now I've developed like a newfound love for them. So if you're passionate about any marine life research, how you can help champion them in your own way through environmental clubs or visiting your local conservations. Next, I hosted an artivism workshop with SOA to bring awareness to deep sea mining. Participants would have learned how art can be a powerful tool for advocacy, blending creativity with social impact. Through hands-on activities and discussions, we explored the intersection of art and artivism in raising awareness about the threats of deep-sea mining to marine ecosystems. This workshop also provided insights into event planning and management, which equipped us with skills to organize impactful initiatives. Public speaking sessions empowered individuals to communicate their message, fostering engagement and inspiring action. With an emphasis on adaptability and flexibility, participants learned to navigate complex issues and advocate for change. So I'm an artist, and I was like super excited to use my creative skills to advocate for issues related to climate change. So if you are an artist, whether it be painting, drawing, or graphic design, you can share your creativity and advocate for change through activism. Lastly, we visited the mangroves conservation of sea turtles at the Center for Crocodiles, and we also had a 10-minute beach cleanup in Mexico. So through our immersive experience, participants gained ecological knowledge, and species-specific expertise essential for effective conservation efforts. With meticulous attention to detail, we uncovered the intricate importance of mangroves and sea turtle conservation, highlighting the importance of preserving these habitats. Additionally, we had a hands-on beach cleanup in Mexico, demonstrating the practical application of waste management principles in protecting marine environments. So the main goal here, or the takeaway, is to at least take 10 minutes to clean up the beach while you're visiting. Encourage your friends, your family to do so as well, so as to keep our oceans and beaches clean. Lastly, we'll go through my 3 key tips. As I mentioned before, beach cleanups. So you got to get involved in local beach cleanup events. You got to follow like accounts online, get connected. You have to join the environmental clubs for that hands-on experience and mentorship. It's like the only way you'll get involved and educate yourself about environmental issues to contribute to ocean conservation efforts and develop practical skills for sustainability advocacy. So today, I hope I inspired you to join the journey towards impactful sustainability. Let's embrace innovation and collaboration, take urgent ocean action together. Next, I'll pass you over to my fellow youth scholar, Mafe.
So, hello everyone, I'm Mafe, a finance, compliance, risk, and project management specialist from Panama. I used to think that making an impact was reserved for scientists or biologists, but everything changed when I attended to the Our Oceans 2022 in Palau, where I met a diverse group of young people from various backgrounds, all working together on projects to change the world. Their dedication inspired me to recognize the potential of my field in contributing to the fight against climate change. Last year, I joined Sustainable Ocean Alliance Panama, and one of our first activities was to co-host the Our Ocean Youth Leadership Summit 2024 in Panama, where I witnessed the incredible power of young people as agents of change. After that, I have the opportunity to join Peaceboat US program Youth for the SDGs, sailing around the Arctic. Later in July, I was selected to attend to the Youth Symposium on deep sea mining in Jamaica, where I had the opportunity to connect and learn from experts about the consequence that will bring to the ecosystems in this if these activities is approved to start. Currently, as a finance and project coordinator in SOA Panama, I use my expertise in finance and compliance to support sustainable practices and become an advocate for raising awareness about the importance of preserving our marine ecosystems. Recently, as a Darwin 200 leader in Peru, I was able to connect with the features communities of Ancon, where we worked together to a documentary to call for an immediate action and collaboration between industry, government, and local communities to establish marine sanctuaries and implement sustainable fishing practice. Through these experiences, I gained a lot of skills, but I would like to share a few: cultural exchange, environmental awareness, activism from different backgrounds, public speaking, and networking. Next, please. So, with my efforts, I'm not, I not only contributed to the collective effort to safeguard the oceans, but also inspired others in my field to get involved in environmental initiatives. Together, we are working towards ensuring a better future for our oceans and future generations. And last but not least, I would like to go on with my tips for becoming an ocean champion. So discover your passion. Go and do activities like traveling, experience diverse cultures, and appreciating natural landscapes. This experience can ignite your passion for environmental conservation and help you realize the importance of protecting our oceans. Break misconceptions. Challenge the misconception that make the significant impact on the environment is limited to a specific professions. Understand that individuals from various backgrounds can play crucial roles in the ocean conservation efforts. And last, take action. Get involved in projects and initiatives related to the ocean conservation and use your expertise and skills to support sustainable practices and advocate for the preservation of marine ecosystem. So today, I invite you to take action and explore your potential as an ocean champion because positive change starts with individual actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mafe. Thank you to all of our youth leaders. And yes, these are great tips to really discover your passion is definitely one of Peace Boat's main messages. We really believe that everyone has something that they're passionate about, and you can take that passion and turn it into action. So with that, I would like to start with another short video deeping into our next dive here with Awaken New Depths as a theme again of the World Oceans Day. We're going to go a little bit deeper into what Mafe was just talking about from the Arctic voyage. We sailed again from London to Norway up to Iceland. And through this Arctic voyages, the youth were able to gain so many experiences, but also it helped us to learn a lot more about our marine ecosystem. So we have a short 4-minute video here by our Colombian youth producer, Luis Barreto.
Tangroe na oki te matangi numi numi o numi numi o me ora koi tangroe ki te mone nui e me keo koi tangroe te taurima te titi o te waka tangroe te taurima te tata o te waka me taku waka ka tere ki te mone nui e iyo.
This program is for the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, where we have young people as part of our Youth for the SDGs Scholarship Program, coming on board the ship and sharing their stories and experiences for ocean conservation and climate action.
I've learned so much more than I thought I would in the 3 weeks that we've been here. Throughout the whole Youth for SDGs program, we sailed through the Arctic, and through all the ports and on the boat, we met educators, scientists, passengers on the Peace Boat, who have love and interest in all the SDGs, all 17 SDGs.
You're providing a sort of a platform for transformative learning in the sense that these young people, they get so much exposure to the challenges, but also the good practice that exists in a wide range of countries. And I think that this kind of learning and this kind of experience, especially for young people, can have lifelong impacts. This is the kind of initiative that can really transform the way that people see the world and the way they see what's possible. That transformational learning that they're experiencing via Peace Boat, they'll go home and they'll share it with their communities and sort of plant the seeds for learning that will continue all throughout the next generation.
I hope that this program that we've just done, that we've just been through, inspires change. And hopefully it's able to inspire the people around us, the people that we will go back to our country, and hopefully we will change their views, their ideals, be more realizing that the ocean needs us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that gave you a brief insight also to the Arctic voyage. So you can see during each of our experiences on board, youth from Latin America learning about turtle conservation, mangrove reforestation, or coral reefs, up into the Arctic where we're observing whales and marine life or doing a kelp study program hands-on. really trying to get those skills into each of our programs and to allow young people to discover, again, what it is that inspires them the most to take action. And kind of like our youth leader, Winton, who is from the Cook Islands, just said, we also hope that these voyages will continue to inspire young people. And by participating in online programs like these with the PCCV network, we hope that we can also bring more young people together and explain more about the skills that we need to get to the next level. We have so many challenges for climate change, for ocean conservation, and at large for peace and security and a more sustainable future. So we hope that all of you will take one thing from this experience today, this workshop, and then help implement that for yourselves. So I think with that, we will wrap up this first part of our presentation series, and then we will pass it over to the PCCB team as well to see if there are any questions or we can have some dialogue. And we welcome any of your comments or questions in the Q&A box so we can continue this conversation live here online. So thank you so much. And with that, would the PCCB team like to also check with us? We can look at the Q&A together and see if there are any questions or continue the conversation live.
I can come in. I already see that there's a question or a couple actually from Dipanjana from the Q&A box. I'm just going to read it out for everyone's benefit. And anyone from the Peace Boat team, feel free to join in and sort of answer as you think is appropriate. So the question goes, the idea of Peace Boat is very innovative and beautiful. The role of youth here is simply superb. I want to know the following things. Number one, connecting with marine lives by using AI tools are coming up if Peaceport is also exploring this aspect. Number two, use of brine for mineral mining is gaining momentum as a sustainable practice. Whether young entrepreneurs are thinking about these new business ventures. So those would be the two questions that there are. So yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Emily, to go through these.
Sure. Well, I think thank you first of all for the comment and the questions. We haven't started using AI tools just yet. For us, this is a new skill that we need to build as a team as well. It's still something very much in development, and we've been studying a little bit about it, but we haven't been using it so much yet. So maybe that will be something for the future generations to bring to the Peace Boat. I think there's a lot of potential there. And then for brine, for mineral mining, gaining momentum as a sustainable practice. My initial reaction is that those words don't go together. Sustainability and mining for us is quite challenging, so I'm not really sure if there's a actual sustainable way to mine, especially if we're talking about in the ocean. But maybe I'll let Neon maybe say a little bit about that, and Mafe, if you like as well. You can maybe share a bit more about what you've learned about mining or any other ideas you have on sustainability for that. So let's see. Neon, do you want to start?
Yeah. So as Emily rightfully said, mining and sustainability does not go together. Those two words are, no. In terms of deep sea mining, they're basically disrupting an ecosystem for minerals that we already have. These minerals are like already on Earth. We just need to recycle them. So I am not into mineral mining. So yeah. Mafe, you have any comments?
Sure. As a Panamanian, last year we were like fighting against illegal contract between the government of Panama and a mining company from Canada. Actually, the people, all the Panamanian people went out the streets and we closed the country because we don't want it. As Emily said and Neon repeat, mining and sustainability won't go together. It will only destroy it, and it's not the way to do the green change to the world. I think we need to explore or investigate more, do more research to be able to go towards the future world we want to live in.
Thank you, Neon and Mafe, for that info. And yeah, I would love to learn more about the brine aspect, though. So maybe that's something we can research a bit. But yeah, I think we all need to really evaluate, what is the value of the minerals that we have on Earth. And as Neon said, we have so much e-waste, so many minerals that can be recycled and reused. And I think for us, also thinking about regenerative sustainability and how we can keep what we have within the circular economy, within the system that we already are using in order to continue that kind of momentum for a renewable energy and sustainable future. So I would love to see more innovation in recycling batteries and recycling materials and reusing and upcycling. I think that would be a huge industry that we can all gain skills in for sure. I don't know if we want to go to the next question. I see
Emily,
someone
can
also
I
has.
say something? Because I think I
Sure.
should
Yes, please.
share this information with all of you because I am a lifelong learner. And my PhD is in estuary water quality modeling. So I know a little bit of ocean and estuary science. And I will tell you that very recently, this new research is coming up. And that scientists are now trying to find out that critical minerals in the brine solution, which earlier used to be thought as an waste. So this is a new venture which is coming up, new research area, new challenge area. And you have very rightly said, the mining, the way we think about it, yes, I do agree with all of you guys and girls that no, that mining is I'm not talking about. But now this is the time also to think about mining in a completely new manner and also to ensure the scientific mining, because unless until we do, and because the water is being carried to the oceans through rivers, and many of our rivers are now facing siltation, huge siltation. Unless and until we try to remove intelligently this sand from the rivers, our oceans will also feel challenges. So there come the new kind of redefining I am talking about redefining our mining. And that has already started. So that's why I just raised 2 points, that these are the new areas of the science where the new minds, the courage and with the chill, we expect all the young stars will come and thrive. Thank you. If you want,
Thank you
I
for
can
that
also
comment.
share that. I can also share the details with you, if you have any, so that you can just take it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. And yes, always great to share more information. So definitely open for dialogue and sharing resources. So thank you for that.
Right. With that, we can move to the next question that we have. We have one from Alaiha. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing anyone's name. So their question is, as an environmental educationist, how can I effectively integrate ocean conservation into children's learning experiences? Yeah, it's an interesting topic, just as a quick reflection that I'm giving in as well, where we with Youth for Capacity and with oftentimes from our work within the UNFCCC, we look at youth, but then the children of today will be the young people of tomorrow. So seeing how we work with capacity building along both of the age groups, but also what the impact of capacity building of one age group is to other is something that's really important, and then we try to integrate and have synergies between the approaches. But yeah, I would be curious to hear from Peaceport's experience on how can one effectively integrate ocean conservation into children's learning experiences.
Thank you. I think that's great. I love all those ideas. And I think it's important to start as early as possible. On the Peace Boat, we have our youngest participants in the Montessori education program, ages 2 to 7 years old. So we do also have young children on board traveling with us, and we do a lot of hands-on education. So one way that we have in the kids' room, for example, we have, the globe and the map of the world in pieces that you can remove and place together, like almost like a puzzle. So finding out about geography and learning in a very hands-on way. Of course, learning about ocean conservation, I think is very hands-on as well. So if you can, depends where you're living, but, really having youth go to the beach and learning about marine life, even just firsthand, doing some of the water sampling, looking at the different kinds of water, colors of water, I think a lot of art projects as well are great for young leaders. We did some programs, as Neon was mentioning, about drawing deep sea animals or understanding the ocean through drawing and coloring and participating in that way. We also have another partner called Pangea Seed Foundation, which I would recommend. I can also share and add to our links. They have a Coloring for the Ocean series for children that has educational tips along with the pages of coloring and artwork. So I could really recommend working with them. And I would like to, yeah, pass it over to our youth. I see Neon and Molly would also like to share. So maybe Molly, you can start, and then Neon, and then Mafe.
Yeah, thank you. I really wanted to make a quick comment on this because Peaceville had done an event last year where it was a series kind of bringing ocean experts and people working, in oceans with the ocean adjacent topic. And I think it was really powerful to have in classrooms kids being able to see, what they could do in the future along if they were interested in oceans and whatnot. So I think it was something that I really learned just in doing that alone was bringing that kind of interaction with experts to young children is really, really impactful. And I think it's something that it can definitely be explored more. The specific kind of organization that we worked through does like webinars of different experts where they kind of like live stream us into each classroom. And this was more specific to the US, but I think it's has the ability because, of the online aspect to be around to have it go, global. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly make that comment.
Thank you, Molly. And yes, that was part of the Explorers Club called Traveling by the Seat of Your Pants. This is another fun, creative way to bring experts into the classroom, as Molly just said, and have them speak to your students. So if that's something you're interested in, you can also reach out to them via the website. And then I'll pass it over to Neon and then to Mafe to comment.
All right. Like my take on this, I recently returned from Trinidad. I hosted my first workshop on waste management in a school. So I found it very easy to have these students like separated into groups with different topics related to ocean conservation. So in my workshop, we would have done sargassum and mangroves. We had one workshop by Cropper Foundation with campaigning, and then we had someone from our environmental agency doing just basic knowledge on waste management and plastic for recycling. So, like host workshops and collaborate with your organizations and your countries, and just make the sessions as interactive as possible. I feel like students hate lectures now. Like I hate lectures still, but give me something to do. Keep it as interactive as possible, and the students will learn and want to do more. Thanks, Mafi.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neon. That's great.
Of course, I think the same. Like if we start early, we are aiming to have a brighter future with we are kids generation. So they are curious as like as their normal phase of the life. So bring on the curiosity they have to topics that are important to our future, sustainable future. So in Panama here, we do workshops in school about what you can like have in a drop of water, so they can learn about microplastics. They learn about uh, uh, the microbiology the drop of water had with microscopic samples and stuff like that. So it's just learn like just pass us our information, our knowledge to them in an easy way, an interactive way. So yeah, that will be my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mafe. Thank you for that. And I see also there were a couple of comments in the chat. I'm just going through now since we were presenting to be able to see some of the comments here. And we can also share the presentation and video files with you all. So if they were a little bit slow, maybe because of the internet connection, depending where you are, and ours here in New York, I'd be happy to share those afterwards as some of the resources. So we'll put those on the website.
Thanks so much, Emily. Yeah, I was just going to ask, maybe it would be nice to have the links to all the videos for anyone that missed it or joined in a little later. Just a final comment on this very interesting question. I don't know, how many of you have watched the movie Moana? I think it's a children's movie, but it's done a fantastic job in raising the sort of awareness and doing it in not a very overwhelming way. I think as a young person, everyone goes through the climate anxiety, everyone goes through the very difficult mental health challenges that come with being an advocate for the right causes. And burdening children is not as easy or not something that we need to do. So maybe integrating audio visual, sort of very innovative and interactive modalities such as movies and films and videos that are able to explain a very complicated and complex issue broken down into simple, actionable items is also perhaps another way of integrating ocean conservation into children's learning experiences. So thank you for that question, Alaya. Then I see something from Divya. She was asking for tips or guidance, but I think through the presentation of the youth leaders, you would have heard 3 from each, 3 from Emily as well. So throughout the session, if you've been tuning in, you'd have heard some of the tips. Then I see Salim. Are there any suggestions in involving coastal tourism for sustainability and preserving the ecosystem? Where can I find the UN SDGs to implement them in our vision?
Great. Yeah, we're happy to share that link with you. You can find the SDGs online, and there are 17 goals, which I'm sure you will find one that you're passionate about. So I'll be happy to share that link with you here in the chat. And every year, of course, the SDGs are coming under review. And so there is the United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development, which is also a great way to see how the SDGs are coming along. And I'll put a link now in the chat for the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, and I hope that everyone, by the end of today's talk, also, it will be great if everybody can choose one goal that you find to, really resonate with your passion and to see what you'd be loving to work on in the future. And it looks like, I'm not sure if sorry, Ms. Ortega has her hand raised in the screen also. I didn't know if you had a question or if, Radia, if you can see that as well.
I don't see the hand, but yeah, so the first part of the question was coastal tourism for sustainability and preserving the ecosystem. So maybe through a Peace Boats example, could you speak to a little to coastal tourism and where there is a play with sustainability over there?
Sure, that's right. And then we can go to Ms. Ortega. Sorry, yeah. So the first part of the question related to coastal tourism definitely is something that we focus on Peace Boat. So each of the communities that we work with, we're working with local nonprofit organizations. So one example I can give is when we were in Guatemala, the program was actually organized by youth from the Sustainable Ocean Alliance Guatemala Hub. So by working within our networks, Peace Boat is creating programs that we know will have a positive impact, not only on the environment, but also on the organizers and the communities working to highlight these issues in coastal communities. So Sustainable Ocean Alliance is the largest youth network around the world of ocean advocates. And as Mafe mentioned, she's part of Sustainable Ocean Alliance Panama. So they have different chapters in different cities. And so in Guatemala, we were able to do a mangrove reforestation and study program. We did a bird observation program. And as Neon mentioned, the turtle conservation as well. And then with other ports, for example, when we were in Mexico, we organized a Blue Economy Forum around coastal communities and development. And we were actually able to involve not only the local actors that are in our youth network, but also high-level diplomats and the port as well to work towards decarbonization of the maritime industry with the coastal communities. And one of the issues they were facing there was a challenge to the mangrove national park that was going under threat from companies there. So their first idea was to have us visit the mangroves. So they organized a study program for us. And then we also did the beach cleanup, as Neon mentioned. So these are just some examples that we showed today, but things that we're working on in every port of call. Even the Peace Boat 3 or 4 days ago was in the Seychelles, and we worked with Parley for the Oceans to organize a beach cleanup there and highlight youth empowerment also. So you'll find a lot of these also if you look at our Instagram and Facebook, which we can share with you in the chat. Lots of stories about coastal communities. And then, sorry, Rita, I see here, Ms. Ortega. I don't know if you wanted to unmute yourself to ask the question, but I see your hand raised just in the screen. If
Please,
you wanted to go
please
ahead.
go ahead, Fred.
Hi, everybody. I am Edgar Richard from Mexico, and I am an overseas journalist. Congratulate to everyone here. Thank you for the welcome and all the participants. I've been monitoring the Moctezuma's River death last 20 years. And the problem we face is that the government are not involved or don't have interest in the agenda for the SDGs or the economical, social, cultural, and ambiental right. So my question is how to involve the governments, how to involve the authorities to take part of these actions.
Thank you. And I think it is really important that we involve governments as well. So that's also a skill that we try to instill in all of our youth leaders is that, for us, it's really important that we have partnerships across all stakeholders. So involving government, youth, NGOs, and civil society in all the activities that we do is important, right? So with governments, we tend to, take the more diplomatic route where sometimes writing a letter to your government representative is a good way to raise awareness. We can encourage, finding out the contacts of your local government office. Sometimes before you go to the national government, if there's something local that you can do, whether it be a governor or a state representative or someone who's working in legislator, you can kind of work in those fields to reach out to them. Also, we try to create events. We're very much interested in building stakeholder engagement using the ship, but even without the ship, organizing an activity on the coast or in a restaurant or in a local community center where government representatives could be invited to speak about their initiatives, to share and exchange ideas with local politicians or with local civil society or youth, to have those voices heard and create that environment where they feel that they would be comfortable to come and share is also something that we like to do. And then I don't know if our youth also would like to answer if you have any ideas of things that you've done with your government partners.
Well, I'm thinking in a confederation of states, neighbors of this stream. As you know, the ocean is the sun of the melting, and the rivers contribute with its life. So thinking in barriers of plants and aquatic plants to avoid the pollution, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are great solutions and definitely something that I think helps to bring to the table. For us, we'll be visiting Manzanillo, Mexico on July 1st. Maybe we can use that as a moment to bring light to some of these issues. So we'd be happy to share, some of these comments as well. I don't know also if Mafe wanted to chime in anything with government or Neon or Molly. Anything you want to add?
Sure. I mean, even if a like national from any country like you are in, you have the duty and the right to speak up. So try that. Go for the Pacific ways always, and you can always do Pacific protest or calling up the government. There's this page, the one you collect the signatures to try to get government's attentions and that. So it can be a peaceful and easy way to reach out to them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Perfect. I see another question from Liza. They're from the Solomon Islands in the Pacific. I'm curious if any of the visits reach indigenous ocean people. As we know, their knowledge about the ocean is enormous as well and can add to ocean advocacy. Our ocean narratives need to include perspectives from different knowledge systems, science, and traditional science. So, any experience working with indigenous communities and peoples from the Peace Board perspective?
Yes, absolutely. And 100%, we are connected with many Indigenous communities that we work with. And maybe I can let also our youth leaders speak about their experiences as we did a homestay program during our last voyage in Latin America with the Embera and the Kuna Indigenous communities that we work with there in particular. And for us, traditional knowledge is extremely important. And just as much as we have the science, we also need the traditional knowledge and science of Indigenous wisdom to be shared with the future generations. So that's a big part of our work. We also have guest speakers who are from Indigenous communities who come on board. We've had Wago, who is an Indigenous artist from Panama, to come on board and use his paintings and drawings to tell stories of Indigenous wisdom towards environmental sustainability. And also, we had Rigoberta Menchú, who's a Nobel Peace Laureate, come on board from the Mayan Indigenous community in Guatemala, as well as many other Indigenous groups that we visit around the world. But I'll pass it over to our youth if you'd like to comment on your experiences in the Indigenous community. If anybody wants to start, you can just raise your hand. Okay, we'll start with Mafe. Please go ahead.
Yeah, well, as the program started in Panama, I was here because this is my home country. So I have the opportunity to go with the group of the Latin American voyage to the homestay in the Embera community. I think it was amazing and like really eye-opening for me because like being from Panama and being able to do this with people from around the world was amazing. And they bring all their perspective, their knowledge, their skills, and they also were open to learn from the community from Panama that was like in Bayano community here. So yes, as the comments say, they are the ancestors and they know the ocean. I think different from us as the city population cities and that. So yeah, I would really this program is bringing like a lot of skills sharing with them, and it was amazing to be able to do it too.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone else wants to add, or we can also go to another question. I know we just have about 5 minutes left.
I'll quickly. Oh, sorry. Go
Oh
ahead,
yeah,
Mia.
go ahead. Ladies first.
Okay, thanks. I just really quickly wanted to mention also another way, like outside of just the voyage, that Peace Boat works with Indigenous communities. For example, we've been talking we've mentioned a couple times today, World Oceans Day that's coming up. That's a huge event for us. So last year, for example, we brought this organization called One Ocean Hub. They are a really, really great organization. This specific chapter was from South Africa, and they shared some videos that they had created explaining kind of traditional knowledge and how it relates to the ocean, as well as went to the UN for the main kind of programming and was able to have a little segment there. But I wanted to highlight them just because they are a really, really great partner of ours. And I think that they have at least their media that they create around this topic is really impactful and something that you can kind of show all ages to really explain, because it's similar. It has instead of Moana, it's just a shortened version of like really explaining kind of indigenous knowledge, specifically in the South African context. So yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to them.
Thanks, Molly. And I just put the One Ocean Hub link in the chat. They do incredible work with storytelling and cultural, kind of presentations to talk about the ocean. It's really, really incredible. So if you're interested in theater, music, art, I would say they'd be really good organization for you to connect with. And Neon, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to I remembered the Chinka community in Guatemala, and if anybody was on a voyage with me, they'll remember that I love the ceviche that they fed us. I was addicted to it. So we visited this community and they showed us like how they live sustainably, like off grid. So it's definitely part of Peace Boat's initiative. Yeah, and I just couldn't stop talking about the ceviche. That that food was amazing.
Yeah, it's true. It's a memorable experience. We did, and we always try to, in our programs, organize local community-based meals so that we get to learn about local food and also to, really work with communities and building out the program to be as sustainable as possible. So we did go to visit the Xinca community in Guatemala after the turtle conservation to have lunch. And yes, it was delicious and really homemade. So that was great. And those are really important memories also because we believe that experiential learning for us is a big topic. So learning through the experiences, remembering the communities, remembering the places you went, and that's all part of it. So that community exchange. With that, I'll pass it back over to the PCCV team. I guess we're in our last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think we have one last question that we could take before we close off. So this question is from Lakshay. I'm really passionate about marine and ocean conservation, especially coral reef conservation. I have some initial ideas for how to get involved in this area, but could you offer me some advice on how to start building a career in this field? So yeah, pass it over to the Peaceboat team. One thing from each one of you to sort of close this off, and then we can close the session as well.
Great. And I'll just put another link in the chat as we're just sharing resources here. Coral reef restoration, there's so many different kinds of corals in the world, whether they be deep sea corals in the Arctic or, the Mesoamerican reef corals that we've been working on in Mexico. So there's lots of ways to get involved. And I would say the first thing is to study as much as you can because also coral reefs are changing so drastically right now due to the increasing temperatures of the ocean that some of the solutions that we found 5 years ago are even changing for today. So I would say study as much as you can to find up-to-date resources. And the link I put in the chat is from our partner in Mexico, from Restore Coral, and they have a lot of different resources also within their page. And they use a lot of art and creativity also. Even a project that they called Coralysis to help stimulate coral reef growth. And so I'll let you check that out on their website. And I know Neon's working on a great project also for corals and seaweed with some of our partners. So maybe we could do Neon, Mafe, and then Molly to all comment each on this last question.
Yeah, so like my main focus would be start a business around what you did or what you study. If you're like into marine and ocean conservation, if you're studying that, I feel like a business, becoming an entrepreneur for that section is really important. So with Nisa's Energy, I plan to make a processing plant because right now sargassum is like inundating our shores in the Caribbean and it's an untapped resource. So I'm trying to figure out how I could use that to either create energy, fertilizer, and now because of Peaceboat, I've met my business partner, Benjamin, and we're now creating a whole different outlook. We're creating bioplastics using seaweed. So these are the kind of connections and entrepreneurial things that come out of Peaceboat. So that's my take.
Great, thank you,
So
Neon. Mafe?
yeah, I think you can start like trying to looking up for internships or always learning, as Emily said. Like internship is a great opportunity because companies or NGOs give you the opportunity to start working and to keep learning from them, so you can maybe go and do your business and work with them if you are like the luckiest ones. But yeah, like internships, keep learning, keep looking, and yeah, I think that will be it.
Yeah, and I'll just really quickly add to that a little bit is I think that especially once you kind of you see how like it's not just like one big organization that does something. There's a lot of different like startups and really small organizations that are also trying to make a difference. So I think if you can find like just getting your foot in the door, making connections in the field that you want, maybe it's even like the region that you want, if like you're looking in like the Caribbean or whatnot. So just finding maybe even like a really small organization and supporting it in any way that you can. Maybe that's, and even like administration or like social media. And I think that a lot of nonprofits look for certain kind of skills if they're looking to take someone on. So just kind of trying to make yourself marketable to anyone and everyone. So yeah.
Thank you, Molly. And I agree, all skills are useful all across the board for the ocean. Every single passion, every interest you have is really a part of what makes the solution better. So we just encourage everyone to take your time, find out what stimulates you. And I'll put one last link in the chat here, our internship program, which Molly is the coordinator of the youth program now. So if you'd like to apply for an internship, we'd be happy to welcome anyone who's here online today. And thank you so much to the PCCB team for organizing, for allowing our youth leaders to share their passions here and skills. And we look forward to more collaborations.
Thank you so much, Emily, and the rest of the Peace Boat team as well. There have been a lot of links that have been dropped in the chat, but we promise that we'll put them all on the event page so that you have a one-stop shop to access all of this information. Happy to share this with everyone. Once again, thank you to all our participants for being so engaged. I think you brought a whole new, opened up a whole new dimension to this session. And yeah, hopefully everyone had a chance to walk away from this session on getting some insights and tips and tricks on how to become an oceans champion. And I've also dropped a link to the Youth4Capacity program that has hosted this series in collaboration with the PCB Network and Peace Boat. So please continue to engage with us. And with that, I wish everyone a lovely rest of your day, wherever you're joining us from. And yeah, see you soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.